What is going on, guys? Join us now as we break down the wildest things coming out of Monday Night Raw. Jacob Fatu destroyed Roman Reigns, Braun Breaker went after Seth Rollins again, Asuka changed the entire women's title picture, and by the end of the night, Raw had turned into total chaos from top to bottom. So let's get straight into it. Jacob Fatu destroyed Roman Reigns, and this Backlash story just got a whole lot bigger. This was the biggest story on the show, and honestly, it had to be. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu finally came face to face for the contract signing, and from the second it started, you could tell there was no way this was ending calmly. Roman tried to act like the man in control, like the champion, like the one who still decides how this whole thing goes. But Jacob was not there to listen to a speech. He was there to send a message, and that is exactly what he did. Once the segment broke down, Jacob put hands on Roman again, smashed him through the table, and then locked in the grip afterwards just to make the whole thing look even worse. That is not normal challenger booking. That is WWE telling you Jacob is supposed to feel like an actual danger going into Backlash, not just another guy filling the title slot. Roman might still be the champion, but Jacob walked out of Raw looking like the man who brought the fear into this feud. Next up, the real reason this Jacob Fatu push feels different. The biggest thing here is that WWE is not treating Jacob like a one-night opponent. That is the real key. There have been plenty of challengers over the years who step up, get one big segment, eat a loss, and then quietly slide back into the pack. Jacob does not feel like that at all. The company is presenting him like somebody who belongs in a much bigger conversation now. He gets the top segment, he gets physical dominance over Roman, and he gets the kind of visual that sticks in people's minds. That matters because Roman is not a guy WWE wastes. If they are putting Jacob directly across from him and letting Jacob stand tall like this, then they clearly want fans to start seeing him as more than just another bloodline-related name. This feels like the beginning of a real rise, and that is why the match already feels bigger than a normal title defense. Next up, this contract signing did more than make the match official. It also changed how people are going to look at Backlash. Before this, you could still say Roman versus Jacob was a strong match on paper. After Raw, it feels like one of the true headline stories of the show. That is a huge difference. Once a contract signing ends with the champion going through a table and getting left behind, the audience stops treating it like a tease and starts treating it like a real war. And that is what WWE wanted here. They wanted Jacob to feel dangerous enough that even if Roman wins at Backlash, people still come out of the match thinking Jacob belongs in major spots going forward. That is smart booking. It protects the match, it raises the stakes, and it tells the audience that this story is not just there to get Roman through the month. It is there to make Jacob matter too. Next up, Braun Breaker brutally attacked Seth Rollins, and this feud just got nastier. The other major story on Raw was Braun Breaker once again going after Seth Rollins, and WWE is doing a very good job making this feel like a grudge fight rather than a showcase match. Seth is one of those names who instantly gives a feud weight, but Braun is the one adding the wildness to it. The attack was ugly, aggressive, and exactly the kind of thing the story needed. Because once Braun starts treating Seth like a target instead of just an opponent, the whole feud changes tone. It stops feeling like a test and starts feeling personal. That is perfect for Braun. He works best when he feels reckless, when it looks like he is one bad second away from taking somebody's head off, and that is exactly how he came across again on this show. Next up, Asuka misted Io Sky, and the women's title scene changed again. This was one of the biggest twists on the entire show because the second Asuka got involved, the whole women's picture became more chaotic. Becky Lynch and Io Sky already had enough tension there, but once Asuka blasted Io with the mist, the direction changed immediately. Now it no longer feels like one clean line leading from Becky to Io. It feels like multiple routes are opening at once, and that is usually when the division gets most interesting. Asuka changes the energy of any title story the second she enters it because she adds unpredictability. Becky might still be standing there with momentum, but the road around her just got a lot more dangerous. And for Io, this is one of those moments that makes the whole story feel more personal than it did before. Next up, Oba Femi beat Otis, and his Open Challenge era is officially rolling. This is exactly the kind of direction WWE should be using with Oba right now. He beat Otis, looked dominant, and then kept that whole Open Challenge identity moving on screen. That matters because it gives him a clear weekly purpose. Fans know what this is now. Oba shows up, somebody steps up, and most likely they get run over. That is a very smart structure for somebody like him. It keeps him visible, it keeps him strong, and it keeps the audience waiting for the day somebody finally enters and actually pushes him hard enough to turn one of these segments into a real feud. Otis was a good choice too, because beating a bigger body like that still makes Oba's power feel meaningful. Next up, the real reason this Oba format works. Because not every dominant push needs a giant storyline immediately. Sometimes the smarter thing is repetition. Keep the man on television, keep him beating people, keep making him look like a wall that nobody can get through. Then when the right rival finally appears, it means more. That is what WWE seems to be doing here. They are not rushing Oba into unnecessary drama. They are building identity first. And honestly, that is probably the right move. The open challenge gives him structure, gives the audience a reason to expect him every week, and slowly turns dominance into part of his reputation. That is how monster acts get stronger over time. Next up, Judgment Day Chaos just got worse, and Roxanne Perez shocked everybody. This was one of the stranger but more interesting threads on the show. JD McDonough beating Finn Balor after Roxanne Perez got involved was exactly the kind of result that tells you this Judgment Day mess is nowhere close to finished. Finn warning Roxanne not to trust anybody was already giving the whole thing weird energy, and then Raw turned around and added even more damage with the interference and the fallout. That matters because once internal chaos gets this deep, almost every segment around the group starts feeling suspicious. Nobody looks fully safe, nobody looks fully loyal, and every little action starts feeling like it could be the start of something worse. That is exactly where this story is now. Roxanne's involvement was the shock piece, but the bigger takeaway is that this side of Raw keeps getting more unstable. Next up, Ethan Page and Rusev got the win while Penta and Javon took a hit. This was one of those mid-card updates that keeps the show moving because it adds momentum to multiple people at once. Ethan Page and Rusev winning matters because it keeps both of them active in a scene that already feels crowded in a good way. Penta and Javon losing does not kill them, but it does tell you this whole picture is not settled at all. There are too many moving parts around it for that. WWE is clearly building this section of the card as something messier than one clean feud, and honestly that helps. It makes the division feel active instead of small. Rusev still looks dangerous, Ethan feels like he is getting inserted into meaningful spots, and Penta still feels surrounded by problems rather than cruising. Next up, Sol Ruca hit Becky Lynch with a Soul Snatcher, and Raw got even crazier. This was short, but it absolutely counts as one of those spicy moments people remember from the show. Becky already had enough chaos around her, then Sol Ruca shows up and lands the Soul Snatcher, and suddenly the whole segment gets another jolt of life. That is why these moments matter. They are quick, they are sharp, and they make the division feel even less stable. WWE likes using little bursts like this when it wants a segment to stick, and this was one of those cases. It did not need to be long. One big move was enough to make people talk. So even though it was a smaller moment compared to Jacob putting Roman through a table or Braun attacking Seth, it still matters, because WWE loves building future tension with one short line, and that is exactly what this felt like. So if that side of the story gets uglier in the next few weeks, Raw already gave you the first clear sign. So when you put everything together, Raw did exactly what it needed to do. Jacob Fatu destroyed Roman Reigns and made the Backlash title match feel way more dangerous. Braun Breaker brutalized Seth Rollins and turned that feud into a real grudge fight. Asuka changed the women's picture again, Oba Femi officially stepped into open challenge mode, and the rest of the card kept getting messier in the best way possible. This was chaos, but useful chaos, and that is exactly what the show needed heading toward Backlash.